Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to ENC Question Reflection live video chat. We're going to talk tonight about something that sometimes be on my mind. I'm not going to lie. It be on my mind sometimes. So we're going to do this. So the topic tonight we're going to talk about is, are parents forgetting that they're the primary teachers? Are parents forgetting that they are the primary teachers? I'm going to say that they do. I think that, and take it, this is my opinion when it comes to that. Hold on just a second. I think that a lot of people, it's my opinion, but I think that a lot of people forget that. I think that a lot of people forget that their responsibility is to teach their child. So it saddens me that it saddens me that a lot of parents do not know that, or don't necessarily think that. So thanks, Jen. I appreciate that. So it rubs me the wrong way, because I think that a lot of people forget as parents that their primary job is a teacher. So what they'll end up doing is they'll lean back, and when the teachers are teaching at the school or teach them, they get upset. So the idea tonight is to really discuss how bad is it really? How bad is it really that parents are forgetting this? A lot of parents, I notice, they, like, especially young ones, they'll have babies just to have a baby. A lot of times I see young girls, they have the baby to trap people. They have paid them to trap the man. So they don't really understand what their primary purpose is as a parent. They don't understand that their primary purpose as a parent is to teach, is to raise, is to provide, and is to guide, redirect, and correct. So that doesn't happen. Jenny had a video last night I watched, and I really respected that video. It was about I can't remember the title, but it was, do you think that kids nowadays are disrespectful, or lack respect was the wording? And they do, because the parents are forgetting what their job is as parents. Their job as parents is to be teachers. So we're going to talk about that. I want to go ahead and remind you, if you have not done so already, to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button. When you do hit subscribe, do not forget to hit all, so that you make sure that you get the material as soon as it drops, whether it's lives, premieres, whatever it is, you get that notification. Also, comment if you feel like you have anything you need to say. If you feel like you have a topic that you want us to cover, just to say hello. And also share this video with your family, friends, or anybody that you think could benefit from this video. So with that being said, let's talk. Oh, and also I am using StreamYard, meaning that if you do want to actually come in and have a conversation about it, if you have something that you want to say, let me know. I'll send you that link, and then we can talk about this, as a panel. So I am trying that. That is something new that I am trying. So let's start from the beginning. When parents become parents, they forget what a parent is. They think it's a mom, it's a dad. You ask people that. Ask people what's a parent. It's a mom or a dad, or it's a guardian. They forget that a parent is someone who has a life, who creates another human being and is to raise them and to train them up so that they too can be decent human beings. You better get out the bat. Carcino is playing Gavin, so we won't be seeing him tonight. Or Gavin. Gavin has to, So anyways, so as parents, our primary job is to teach, whatever that teaching is. And I don't mean academically. I don't mean in a way where 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 3. I have a family member, and when they came to me, they were 6 years old. They couldn't say their ABCs. Hey, Doran. They couldn't say their alphabet. They couldn't count to, I think it was 30, and they're 6. It made me feel bad, kind of, because I didn't want to rub it, like talk bad about anybody, but my 2-year-old grandson, who's with us all the time, he can't say the ABCs, but he can say the sound all the way through. The thing is, he gets it. He's being taught here. You can't ignore a child at a small age and not teach them those small little fundamentals, because you may not think that those are important, but a child that knows how to count at a young age can mentally count at an older age. Hold on, my husband says he can't hear me. Hold on just a second. Trying to remember where I got my setup going. Yes. Okay. Hold on just a second. I appreciate y'all patience. Hold on just a second, y'all. I got to make sure y'all can hear me, because that wouldn't make any sense now, would it? We just might have to deal without that. Let me see. Happy Saturday. Yeah, you get fast on the keyboard whenever you manage a call center. You ain't got a choice but to know how to type fast. That's the crazy thing about it. StreamYard can hear me, so. It's always my Facebook Live that can't hear me. It's always the Facebook Live. Well, I might have to rig something real quick then. I'm good at that. At rigging stuff. Hold on just a second and I'm going to rig it. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Well, y'all just gonna have to deal with the blue thing. Nah. I hope y'all can hear me now, because that's just gonna have to be that. So anyways, how can you teach me how to type fast? Jaquez, no. You can go to Nitro Type like you're supposed to and learn how to type. I can't teach you how to do that. When it comes to typing, practice, you have to practice. Hey, there's nothing I can do to help you type faster. You just have to practice. You have to put your hands in the right spot, and you have to practice. You have to practice good form. It's just like basketball or football or anything else. There's a process to it. So anyways, let's get back to that. If the Facebook wants to act up, that's perfectly fine. I know how to download it over to Facebook later on. That's perfectly fine with me. So look, let's get back to what we were talking about. So anyways, so let's start from the beginning. So as parents, we were talking about ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and all that good stuff. So look, the thing about it is the smallest thing that you teach a child is like so pertinent. It's the smallest things. When you teach a child to count, I know that when CJ was about 8 or 9 months old, I have him on video, and we taught him how to count to 3, and you can see him going 1, 2, 3 with his hands. And the smallest things that you teach a child seem so tiny to you. They seem so small to you. Teach her how to type faster. Ooh. Or is that her son? Oh yeah, that's her son. That's Miss Alberta. That's her son. That's one of my second kids. They claim me mom. They claim me as their parent. That's one of those kids. So yeah, he's mine. So look, I know a lot of parents, they ignore the fact that they have to teach their children shapes, numbers, letters. And they ignore it at a young age because it seems so small to them because they know how to do it. So because they know how to do it, they don't necessarily care that the child knows how to do it. They think that a child should just pick it up. Well, the thing is, a child is going to pick up what a child sees every day. Okay. A child, I might donate. I'm going to see how the show go. All right. A child sees what they see every day. So if a parent isn't counting to 10 every day, or saying their ABCs every day, or talking about circles and squares and triangles and prisms and cubes, and if they're not doing that every day, the child's not going to pick that up. They're not. They're going to ignore that, and they don't think about that. So then that isn't even the beginning of it, because a child doesn't actually start thinking about going to school until they're about 4.5, because nowadays, they got pre-K. So a child doesn't actually get the opportunity to go to school until they are a little older. So you have from the time that they're born to the time that they're 4 to teach them all kinds of crazy things. Whenever I'm putting CJ's clothes on, we count to 10. Takes 10 seconds to put a shirt on. He can count to 10 because of it. So it starts really small. But one of the most important things that we have to remember to teach kids is morals, standards, and principles. Parents forget that too. Parents don't realize that when they see you with somebody and you cuss them out, they think that's how they communicate, or they're supposed to socialize with people. And I'm going to go ahead and remind y'all, if you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. And also, I am on StreamYard today. So if you want the link so that we can talk, let me know and I will send it to you. And then we can have an actual conversation and still you just listening to me. If you feel like you have something to say, I'm totally okay with that. We're working on this, how we can get this going, and that's what we're going to do. So if you want to be in my StreamYard and you want to be on my panel, just let me know and I will send you the link, and then you can be on our StreamYard. So look, okay, hold on, Dorn. Actually, I'll put it in the chat. How about that? Because I can do that. There you are. I dropped it. So look, the next thing that parents have to remember to teach them is morals and standards and respect. Like I just said, Jenny did a video last night on about respect and about children lacking respect. Well, children learn respect from how their parents respect. If a child gets away with being disrespectful, then they're going to continue to be disrespectful. That's just a given. It's what they're doing. It's how they work. And you can't be upset with them at first for not being respectful unless it's being corrected. If a child thinks that what they're doing is right, they're going to keep doing it. And it's the same way as an adult. When I was teaching my team, there was times that people would be doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. If I didn't correct that behavior, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep on with the, I thought I was doing it right, because they've never been corrected. And teaching is about correction. Discipline is about correction. And discipline isn't always a bad thing, because you can have self-discipline, disciplining yourself to make sure that you're not doing something, wrong. Look, I'm on a weight loss journey. Okay. The last couple of years, I've gained a lot of weight. Don't know why. Is what it is. I can't really, I'm not even going to waste my time trying to pinpoint it. But look, now I'm on a weight loss journey. I'm 8 days into a weight loss. I'm fixing to start extreme hip hop with a little level, with the aerobic level, and I'm going to try to lose weight. But see, it takes discipline to drink green tea all day and water and not soda and whatever else I want. I'm tell you what my weakness is now at this time of year. Eggnog. I love eggnog. And I will drink it because I love it. It's addicting. So I have to discipline myself to not drink it, or to drink it, but drink, enough where I can count the calories. But I mean, it's a little bit, the little bit that I can drink of it, but it takes discipline. Children don't learn discipline or self-discipline just off the top of their head. Hey, how you doing? Children don't learn that off the top of their head. Children learn how to be respectful. Children learn how to handle situations and handle problems by the guidance from their parents. Parents are forgetting that they're the primary teachers. When they think of teachers, they think of school. Oh, I ain't worried about them being taught anything. And, they go to school and they'll be in kindergarten or whatever. And that's when they're like, well, now, hey, y'all, my children. Move it. What, baby?
No.
Huh?
No.
What is that?
Okay.
Somebody gave you some candy? Yes, ma'am. Okay, go in now. Go in there. So anyways, they have to be taught. They have to be taught how to do these things, because it doesn't just happen. You don't just get CJ. Okay, at them. They don't just learn these things. You don't just expect them. And so parents will wait for teachers, and then they'll go to school and the teachers are like, well, your child is so rambunctious, because a parent never taught them to sit down and sit still. A parent never taught them. We teach our children how to sit still, and how we do it is we make them sit down and read a book. Because if they're not taught how to sit still, they start to gain these little things called ADHD. And then the teachers are like, your child is rambunctious, and now they're ADHD. No, it doesn't make the child ADHD just because they can't sit still. That's not a given. Just because a child has to be taught how to sit still. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna figure this out. Doran is gonna join us in our stream. Hey, Doran, how you doing?
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good, good. So, what do you think? What do you think about these parents who forget that they're teachers?
Yeah, so with kids, you have to start at an early age, like you said. And it's hard because their brains are just, kind of forming. And so you have to piece things together one by one. And you're right about the moral thing. Has to be leading by example. I'm gonna stay on for a few minutes. I don't want to hijack the show, but I'm very glad to be a guest.
No, you're fine.
I'm glad to be live on YouTube because I got banned for a couple of weeks on my own show.
I heard about that.
It's good to be here, but you got to teach some morals, and it's best to lead by example. But my kid is 4, and I got another one that's 2, so I'll give them life lessons in between whatever. If they're acting spoiled about their food, I'll say, hey, it's a lot of kids who don't get food. In other countries, in other cities. I actually showed him different YouTube channels of kids who are homeless, kids who are malnourished, and it was an eye opener. And he'll refer to that before I do. He'll oh, why I got to eat my dinner? Because the kids are like, yeah, because So it's good to teach them that, and they'll retain it. You'll teach them something 3 months prior, and it'll come out of their mouth 3 months later. You're like, what? I thought you forgot about that. So each little thing you teach them, they will remember. Just like they remember every curse word you say, they will remember every little nugget of teaching that you give them.
Yep. You're absolutely right. You have to be very careful because kids are sponges, and they're sponges for the longest amount of time. They don't just stop being sponges. They don't just stop taking in information. And just as quick as you'll correct a behavior, you'll find that either slip into the old behavior and has to be corrected, or you'll find that they'll pick up new things. I just dropped a video on, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bad Baby. Her name is Danielle Bagoli. She was on Dr. Phil, Kicked Me Outside.
She's no joke, yeah.
She's a mess. Okay, so she has a video called Gucci Flip Flops. And I literally just dropped a video right before I went live on here about that video. And it wasn't even what she said in the video or her, it was the video itself. Because what these kids see on TV can affect, exactly how their morals. You have to be careful what you bring in your house. Just because you think you're teaching them something doesn't mean that they're not getting, bad association somewhere else.
Yeah, the outside influences, it's getting worse because they have so much access. I mean, they can literally plug in their phone and see anything. Especially when they're 6 or 7, they can search different stuff. They can literally look at anything they want at a drop of a hat. So you really have to lay down the morals now because there's so much access. Every 10 years or so, the access is even worse. I remember not growing up with internet, cell phone,
dial up.
Dial up. Yep. Yeah, they don't know the struggle. These kids do not know the struggle of dial up. You had to hang up the
They
phone. Like,
don't.
hang up the phone. I'm on the internet. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to
Or pick
Jenny
it up and
Raw,
lose
Real and
connection.
Unfiltered. I got your connection. Wait, is she coming on?
Jenny's
Hey,
gonna join
yeah,
us.
I was just about to give you a shout out.
Forget what's good. Well, thank you. Hi guys.
Jenny's coming
I just
and
literally,
joining.
I literally
Here
just
comes
got out of the
Jenny.
bathtub, so you gotta excuse my appearance, but it's all good. I just want to get out and say hi.
Hey,
Girl.
both of y'all look better than me, so
No, I like your luxurious hair, Duran.
yeah.
Duran, I love your voice too. Dude. You should be like a news broadcaster or something. I love your voice. You have such like a
That'd
deep.
be cool.
You like you command the room with your voice. I love it.
I heard that job pays good. Hook me up.
Hey, Case.
I did not
Give
get
me
your
some
links to why you got banned off of YouTube.
Well, I'm not gonna do any COVID stuff right now, but basically I was talking about COVID and anything anti-COVID, they're gonna get rid of you. Like my show that I did, I actually read news articles. The same articles they put out there, I read them, but I just interpreted the way it should be.
Right.
You know, they said, I'll just give one example. They said that the BLM protest not only didn't spread the disease, but the BLM protest may have stopped the disease. You got 100,000 people in each city in the streets, all close together, but they spun it and said, because it's a BLM protest, oh, we're out there saving lives and stopping the disease. Whereas if you go to the movies or if you go to your child's birthday party with 20 people, okay, you're killing society. So just stuff like that. I just thought I was telling the truth about it, and they shut me down. But I'll be back in a week, and I will be doing some live streams. I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet, so I can't do live streams like Carcino does on his phone. I have to do it from my computer. I'm at 600, so I'm blessed. I appreciate you guys too. I was at 50. I was at 50 this time last year, so
good for you. You know what? It usually starts out slow, and then like slowly but surely. You know, you guys will both get there. For sure.
Yeah, and it was crazy because I started my channel. Well, I started my YouTube channel 3 years ago, you know, right before my daughter was born. And so for 2 years, I had about 50 to 70 subscriptions. Then the last year, over 500. So I feel blessed about that.
Yeah, good for
you. And again, I thank you guys. I thank you guys for that.
You're welcome.
And what are you doing different from then? What are you doing
I think it's just natural.
That change that? Like, what did you do that's different?
Well, two things. The first thing is I'm getting on shows like yours and Jenny's and Carcino's and different other platforms. Okay. Brandon Tatum gave me a shout out. Joy Taylor from Fox Sports 1 gave me a shout out. Just different YouTubers gave me a shout out. Jennifer Molosky, she's a anti-feminist, a female anti-feminist. She gave me a shout out. So just different shout outs from people, and I'll share people's shows. Just collaborations got me here, and also COVID. A lot of people were at home. A lot of people were more on social media. So that helped out too.
I know. I always say I feel like I think I've been on for like 4 months, and I wish that I would have got on when it started because everyone was at home. So it's like, you know, more people watching and more time to get on here. Yeah. You
would have been huge had you started in February.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Oof.
Never too late though. Never too late, guys. In case I tried to watch I tried to peep the Bad Barbie video, but they took it down.
They should. Thank God.
You know what I'm talking about?
Video?
I think it was. Yeah, I didn't get to see it, but did you play music in it? Because a lot of times if you play music in it, they'll take it down for copyright. It said some shit like, we can't play this in your country or some shit like that. I was like, what? So.
Yeah, she needs to be taken down. She is a lot of girls look up to her.
It, but
it's not good.
The rule is that I did play her song, but I broke it up into clips.
No, I feel you. And I think, like I said, some of the shit that they allow on YouTube, and then to hear about Duran being, banned and then them taking that down is a joke, because some of the stuff I see, I'm like, how is this, how is this flying? How is this okay? But other stuff's taken down. I don't understand. I don't.
It's a new world we live in, and it's a shame because this new world, people are accepting it. People will gladly accept that a Walmart that has thousands of people is open, but the little hardware store is closed down.
True.
Like, really? It's 15 people in this place. We got to shut down? A gym has to shut down? Because this is a health crisis, right? But a gym actually helps your health. Last time I checked.
I'll tell you,
oh, wait, somebody muted. I don't hear anything. Okay, I got her. She's
who's
back
muted?
on.
Case, you were for a second. I couldn't hear you for a second. Now I hear you.
I can hear you again now.
The video, what I'll end up doing, because how I do my videos is I actually record them, then re-record them and edit them and then throw them out. So I actually still have the video, so I'm not even mad. What I can do is I can go in and block the music itself and just, because I don't really care about the music. The music itself is a bunch of murmuring and blah, 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 blah. I don't really care about what was said or her as a person, but the video itself. So I can just go in and just mute that specific audio line and then just resubmit it. They can't because it's clipped out. So I can edit in and throw it back out there, because I think that video is so important to my point of parents forgetting that they're teachers. Because if you watch that video in the beginning, that woman is there's a mom, there's a dad, there's a son, there's a daughter, and they are literally sitting down watching TV, and they're watching Bad Baby's video. Mm-hmm. Well, in the video, it's 1960s in this video, so they're dressed pretty decent as parents and as kids. Well, throughout the video, you'll notice that things start to change. The title of the video is Gucci Flip-Flops. Well, Gucci in some cultures means it's all good. It doesn't necessarily mean a name brand. When you say it's all Gucci, it could mean it's all good. Yeah. So then the flip-flop part is not necessarily Gucci name brand flip-flops. It's a symbolic way of saying that Gucci flip-flops is it's okay for a child to put themselves in a grown person's position. That the video itself starts to progress, where the son is starting to be all into the song, and then because you got Lil Yachty in there too, who's rapping in there. So you have a male influence, you have a female influence, and then the mom, she's starting to feel little Yachty a little bit, because she's fanning her face and looking at her husband like, I hope you just didn't see that. And like, just the whole video speaks volume that parents have forgotten that their primary job is to teach their children, because they could have avoided, because she tries to cover his eyes. The whole thing could have been avoided if that parent would have took the initiative and just turned it off. You could have just turned the video off instead of doing all that other stuff. And so then it starts to go through where you'll see that the mom and the dad start taking pills. They start being alcoholics. They start putting syrup, lean, because parents can't handle the anxiety of raising children after they've got to the point where it's just beyond that point. So it's super important.
Once kids start teaching themselves, if you haven't given them just the basic fundamental rules of life, and they're at the point where they can teach themselves and do stuff on their own, it's over. You have to instill respect. You have to instill just different life principles, because once they turn 8 or 9, they're going to form their own personalities, and at that point, it's pretty much done. Now, I have a 4 and a 2-year-old, but I've raised many little cousins, a lot of little brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews. Oh, absolutely. I've been raising kids since like 17. So I can see the progression of one child who ended up, doing well. and another one who end up in prison at some point. You can kind of see it at 8, 9 years old, sadly. You know, there's patterns that repeat themselves over and over and over again. You know, if a child is wanting to fight at 8, 9 years old, he's going to be in jail in 10 years.
You know what? You're
Now,
so right, Duran. I'm sorry, Bo. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, I'm just saying it's a blanket statement, but, you know, I'm just talking about in general. Like, if you take 100 kids who like to fight at 8 years old, you're going to have 95 that's in jail. But if you have an 8-year-old who likes to study and likes to do the right thing, do chores, he's going to be in college by age 18, 10 years later. It's just the facts of life.
You're spot on. But what you reminded, and you're so right, and what you reminded me of when you were talking about these kids and, you know, them going down the wrong path, if you will. Y'all ever seen that show, Beyond Scared Straight? You ever peep that?
I like that show.
Me too. And Gavin used to watch. Gavin used to want to watch it with me, and I was like, okay, this will work, you know. And he just couldn't believe it. Some of the stuff he was seeing, and it was just kind of an eye opener for him and myself. It was like, wow, you know, this is what's gonna you know, become of you if you know, don't want to be a law-abiding, respectful young man, and you want to, you know, act like you have no authority and just want to do what you want to do. So I think it's a great show. I really do.
It's good to watch stuff like that, especially growing up. And the fact that he likes to watch it is good. A lot of kids would be scared off, like, I don't want to watch that crap, but it's good.
He likes it.
Yeah. And with my kids, you know, they're growing up nice. They're growing up like they might as well be rich kids. I mean, they eat every day, got their own room, got a nice house to hang out at. I mean, it's gravy with them. They don't know the real struggle. I went a couple of days without eating growing up. You know, I wasn't dirt poor. I wasn't project mom strung out poor, but we were poor. But it was community. It was love. You know, a lot of fun times, a lot of great music, a lot of just ghetto hood. You know, sort of family vibe. So it was cool, and I'm blessed to be where I'm from. But my kids live a totally different lifestyle than what I did when I was their age. So I have to like kind of scared straight them. Talking about the kids in Africa. I'm gonna take my kids. They're like 8 or 9 years old to like the rehab centers and to like the homeless shelters for kids. I'm gonna do all that stuff so they can see the other side of life. I actually seen the other side of life like straight up because I lived it. But I'm going to let them see what I saw at that age so they'll have a better appreciation for life.
It's so interesting that you say that because I don't know about y'all, either of you, but I do the same thing with my boys. There's this place, it's an organization, and I think it's around the country, if I'm not mistaken, but it's called Feed My Starving Children. And it's huge, and we go there, and they, you know, they have their little
What is that about?
And they have to watch a video about, you know, they usually feature like 2 or 3 kids that like live in, you know, poor countries and how they get no medical care and how they, you know, are basically like completely famished. And then we go and we pick stations, and each station represents a country. And we've prepared these, you know, I forget what, it's been so long since we've been there, like rice and grains, and then we pack it and ship it off, and we say a prayer at the end. It's like the coolest thing, but my boys love it. And I feel like it teaches them such a lesson, you know, and sometimes when they complain like, oh, I don't want this for dinner, I don't want that for dinner. It's like, listen, some places it's do we have dinner, not, you know, what's for dinner. So you're lucky that you get a meal. Don't complain about what that meal is.
That's
you know?
right.
So
I cannot wait for my kids to hear what you just said. I'm going to replay what you just said to my kids. Because I say it all the time, but it's good for outside influences to say it. That's definitely true.
For sure. Absolutely. They're they don't know how good they got it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'll say 2 things on that. The first thing. Okay. I can't hear you, Kate.
Exactly.
I can't hear you.
And that goes back to parents teaching their kids.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right, Jenny. They don't. It really goes back to parents that teach their kids that, because there's a lot of parents that kids waste food. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Good.
Yeah, my kids waste food all the
It goes
time.
back
Especially
to
my youngest.
parents teaching your son, Gavin, is hilarious. He wants to come. I see you, Gavin. It goes back to parents that who will eat part of their food.
There's a delay, I think, right, Dorian?
Yeah,
You see the delay?
Yeah, there's delay.
They'll eat part of their food, and they'll waste the rest of it.
Yeah.
I can't stand that.
That's like my nonna, my Italian grandma, is 102 years old, and if she sees me getting ready to throw away anything,
Is it okay
she
now?
gives. Can you hear me, Bo?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. My nonna, if she sees me, like if I clean my plate and there's like a potato left, she'll like put it in the fridge with a napkin over it. And she always says how when she grew up in Italy, they were so poor that they would eat potato peels. So when you come from that, you appreciate everything that you have. And to us, it might seem trivial, but to her, it's like, you're not throwing that away. You know, I would have killed for that 80, 90 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I love it. I love it. And two things what you just said. First of all, when COVID first broke out, we went to LA Skid Row to feed the homeless every Saturday. And this is why we did it. That's awesome. Because you have a lot of rich people in downtown LA, and they feed the homeless, basically, give them money and stuff like that. But I knew once this outbreak came, they would ignore the homeless, and they'll be scared of the homeless and wouldn't want to go outside, even go near anybody. So we took it upon ourselves to go down, pass out food every morning. And keep in mind, we had no masks, no gloves. And I know people watch that like, what? You trying to kill your kids? This is why I knew that whole thing was BS, because there's one reason. I watched a commercial for Red Cross.
My YouTube channel.
I can hear you guys. I watched a commercial for Red Cross, and they said on the commercial, whether or not you have COVID, you could give blood. Once I heard that, I was like, okay, this is BS, because they wouldn't say it for AIDS. They wouldn't dare say it for AIDS. So yeah, we took the kids to feed the homeless, and they're patting them on the head, high fives, hugs. Everybody perfectly fine.
God bless you for that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they learned a lot. It was eye-opening to them. They was like, these people have no food. Like, I was, and so yeah, like you said, it's good to expose them to different parts of life. Like it's not all cozy like it is in this house. It's a lot going on that you don't know about.
Absolutely.
And one last thing, you guys ever heard of mica mines?
I don't think so.
Yeah, mica is a specific metal that's used for phones and for TVs and for electronics. And so in these poor countries, they have the kids digging out this dirt, and they extract the mica, and then they sell it. So they'll give the whole village like $500 a week, and they'll make millions off of it. And these kids are literally 10, 12 hours a day digging through dirt and get like a cup full of rice a day and like a little bit of water. And they live off of that. They live in caves and stuff. And we watched that for 30 straight minutes. He was bored the first 5 minutes, but after, he could not take his eyes off that. He could not believe these kids didn't have toys, didn't have beds, didn't have food, didn't have moms a lot of times, didn't have dads. It changed a lot in him. And he was 3 at the time.
Amen. And you know what else too? And not just with the food. I don't know if y'all can relate. I mean, I got 2 boys, but I don't think maybe it's more prevalent in boys. I know, Duran, your kids are younger, but girl, you got 3 boys. I'll use the same thing when I talk about. I can never get on this camera correctly. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Like when my boys, like when they go to school, and it could be like 15 degrees outside, and they will fight me to the death about wearing a winter coat. And then, we work hard. We buy them nice winter coats, nice gloves, nice hats, stuff to keep them warm and protect them. And then they want to bitch and complain, and they don't want to wear it. And I'm like, do you know that there's children out here that we are collecting from people coats to clothe them because they don't have enough money? They don't have clothes. They don't have nice jackets. So stuff like that too, I think is super important to just like kind of break it down and be like, it's not just about the fact that it's a coat that you don't want to wear. Other children don't have coats. They will go outside and they would die for the coat that you have, and you're sitting here telling me you don't want to wear it. Like,
Yeah.
so
The kids
I think
they have no idea how good they have it, and I remind them constantly because I want them to know they have a good life, but at the same time, I don't
Teach
want
appreciation.
them to be so jaded. You know, I have to bribe them to eat their dinner to get a snack at the end. Like, really, I would have lived. I would have died to have some chicken nuggets for dinner, or I would have died to have some pizza. We got pizza like maybe 2-3 times a year. They get it every week, and they're nibbling at it.
Yeah.
Like, boy, if I had pizza for dinner. Oh man.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, Kate, I want to ask you a question. How many children do you have? Like,
kids.
how many?
Say that again.
Me?
Kate, how many children do you have?
Me, I have 3.
Kate.
I have
3. Boys or girls?
They're all boys. I have all boys. We adopted a girl when she was 7, but she went back to live with her real mom, but she's still our daughter. And so we actually have her son in our house. So now we have 4 in the house.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
God bless you for that, lady. God bless you.
But
yes, I'm the only one with a little daughter, huh?
Like I was
I wanted some advice how to raise a daughter. I'm on my own now.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I have a little one. 21.
Okay.
What'd you say,
girls are not easy to raise. It takes so much more to raising a girl than it does boys. But you still have to remember as parents, you know, and teach them at a young age. He's 2, but he can count. He can say his ABCs. My 6-year-old niece came over here and she couldn't do any of that. And it goes back to how much time you're spending teaching little small things. You know, mental math goes, that's where it starts. When you're able to do things and think with your brain, is teaching that at a young age. Because if they can't visualize that at a young age, they're not going to learn that. You know, parents forget that they are primary teachers.
Yep. I'm not bragging, but my 2-year-old knows.
I'm gonna raise me somebody that can be my husband. You know, feeling. Yeah, they're supposed to, because kids are sponges. They can learn from songs. They can learn. When I put his shirt on, we count to 10. That baby can count to 10. You know, and it comes from consistency. It comes from keep doing it over and over and over again. You know, it takes that. You know, you can't give up on them. And it's the same thing with respect. If you're in a household where you yourself don't have respect or you don't have any morals, then they're going to learn that attitude and they're going to take it to school. And then the teachers are going to be like, well, girl has an attitude. And then, of course, then you have the teachers that get an attitude too and provoke the kids. And then it makes the situation even worse. So it really starts from home in the beginning, teaching a child ways of life, morals. You know, respect is a consideration of somebody's feelings, but it has levels, just like love has levels. You know, it all has levels, and it's something that has to be taken serious and it has to be taught, or these kids are going to take it and they're going to run with it, or they're going to start watching music videos and movies, and they're going to get the wrong idea.
Yep. They're going to learn from somebody. They're going to learn from you or from TV. Society or you. Which one you want to teach your kids? That's what it comes down to. You know, my 2-year-old, she talks back a lot, but I snap it. I stomp it out as soon as she does it. And she's only 2, so you have to do that, because if she's still talking back at 7, it's over. Game over. If she's talking back about time she's 7, too late.
Exactly.
You got to. I had a sheriff. Yeah, you do. And there was a sheriff deputy I had at the. He ran into me at the store, and I was chastising one of my kids. And the problem with parents who have this idea, there's a fear in them that they're going to get arrested, they're going to get something called on them, so they don't discipline their kids themselves, but they won't effectively chastise or discipline their child in public. And so, am I lagging again? My husband says I'm lagging.
Yeah, I think
Hey,
so.
Am I lagging?
Sorry. Oh, yeah, but listen, mad love. I gotta go, boo-boos, because I gotta go finish cooking dinner. I feel bad because I keep sleeping.
So
Say
the
bye.
sheriff looks at me.
I'll give you the Forrest Gump.
And-
Bye, Jenny.
I said,
Bye.
let me tell you something before you even say anything to me.
Well, you're
What are you
still
cooking?
lagging. Okay, yeah, you're lagging.
Going
Sorry
live
about
tonight. She must be. Maybe she is. But look, so I had
Is
this
she-
anyway. So let's see. Is it better now?
that. I can hear your voice.
I heard you the first time, Mr. William. But you
Okay.
can hear me, but the picture's lagging.
Yeah, I can hear you. So just keep talking. I'll go by what you're saying, not what I'm seeing.
Okay. So there was the sheriff that saw me, and I said to him, I said, look, before you even say anything to me, my job as a parent is to train my child in the way they should go. If I have
Yes.
to discipline them in public, I am going to discipline them in public. You're not going to be
Yeah.
able to stop me from doing that. And I said, and I told him, I said, let me explain to you why. Because when my son stands in front of a judge and I have to explain why I didn't teach my child not to steal or not to rob people or not to kill people or not to assault people, and you're going to look at me and my husband, you're going to wonder why we didn't teach them that. Or you're
That's
not going
right.
to be standing there supporting me and my husband when I'm having to bury my son because I didn't teach him. And I said, so with that
Yes.
being said, Mr. Gator, his name's Gator, our sheriff's name's
Uh-huh.
Gator. I said, with that
That's
being said,
wild.
Gator, you are not going to stop me from teaching my child in public. I have
Can't do
never
it.
been bothered or threatened at all.
Yeah. I'll say this. It's a two-edged sword. They don't want you to be mean to your kids. Don't want you to whoop your kids, but they don't want to get robbed by your kid in 18 years either. So something has to give. Either I'm going to discipline my kid and they're not going to rob you at 2 a.m., or I'm not going to discipline him, just like you guys said, and then boom, he's out there in the streets raising hell.
Mhm.
The kids have to be taught certain things.
It's amazing.
Implicitly. Yeah. They're not going to learn things on their own. They're going to learn from you, or they're going to learn from society. They're sponges. They have to constantly learn. So you have to constantly teach every single day. If you don't, they will learn from Bad Baby or Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. Okay, you went mute again, but I'm just nod my head.
Or Cardi B. That's right.
Okay, I hear you.
That's where they're. I'll work on the first time using StreamYard though, and I'm super excited and I love it already. So
Yeah.
look, if a teacher trains your child and you don't agree, should you retrain your child?
Actually, no. You should let the teacher be the teacher. And if there's anything wrong, wait till the summer, because you don't want two conflicting ideas, because that's going to confuse the child. If you tell your child that the teacher's wrong, they will tune out that teacher for the rest of the year. It happened to me. You know, you don't ever want to tell a child that another adult is wrong or that another adult is crazy, or I'm talking about the adult that's in charge of them. You don't want to kind of cut the cut the knees off of the other adult. If another adult is teaching them, let them learn from that teacher. You can have a teacher conference and say, hey, I don't like my child is learning, and hash it out with the teacher. But don't do it from the kid to the teacher. That's weak. Talk to the teacher if you don't like what's being taught. And if you really don't like what's being taught, then remove that kid from that teacher, from that class. But do not overstep what the teacher's saying. And then now the kid's confused. Now he's tuning out the teacher. And now he don't trust you, kind of, because you sent him to that teacher.
Yeah, I
My
think I
humble
can
opinion.
understand where you're coming from. I actually, depending on what is being taught, I actually, yeah, don't forget to donate to the Cash App and hit the like button. Thank you, Jenny.
Hit that like button. Yes.
Yeah, hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel, and make sure you hit all. That way you get the material. But look, I think I'm a little opposite with that, because it depends on what is being taught. You'll get some teachers, especially nowadays, that will. I'm a substitute teacher, so that's actually why I put that question in, because I'm always the one that's teaching. See, I don't teach academics. I don't care what the substitute puts in there, and the teacher puts in there, because they know that if I'm coming with something different. I don't want to math today. I don't want to teach. What I'm coming in there and I teach the kids is I teach about respect. I teach about 5 things that'll make somebody think they're being disrespectful. I teach morals. I'm a mentor. So I actually had life teaching.
Yeah,
I do. They call them Miss Williams Life Learned Lessons. That's what they call them. That's what the kids call them. Life coach. So I actually had a kid who came back and he was like, Miss Williams, well, guess what? I was like, what? He said, I went home and I taught my dad what you taught me. And I was like, oh yeah, what was that? He's like, that there's a difference between stupidity and ignorance. Because there is. Yeah. There's a difference. We're all born ignorant. And stupidity is when you know you're not supposed to do it and you do it anyways. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So he went home and he told his dad. His dad told him I was wrong. This child stood up for me, because he said what his dad said didn't make sense. I said, well, I'll tell you this. Never disrespect your father and what your father is teaching you. What you do is you help him to think and reason. What I've taught you is a way to help people think and reason about things. So I think that if it's the shoe was the other way and a teacher was teaching my son something, if I knew it was wrong, I'm going to reteach my child, because I have to. My job as a parent, I'm a prime. If what a teacher is teaching a child is wrong, then if somebody hits you, you hit them back. I'm not going to teach my child that, and on certain circumstances, they're teaching them is wrong. I'm going to teach them on a whole different level. Me and my husband are going to come in and we're going to be like, well, this is right. This is wrong. This is what is wrong about what she said. But I mean, we would never be like, look, don't be disrespecting the teacher. We're very neutral. We're not one of those parents that come in and they're like, the teacher did something wrong and my kid is always right. No.
Yeah, helicopter parent. Teachers cannot stand those. Teachers cannot stand those parents that will let their child do anything. Yeah, that has got to be the worst if you're a teacher.
It's true. It is. So come to me and tell me to keep doing it. Yeah. And I never be like, well, you're supposed to be teaching this at home. I don't ever do that, but I don't believe in ADHD. You can hear me, but you can't see me, right? You can hear me now?
Yeah, ADHD
can you hear me now, Eric?
There's no such thing as ADHD. It's just a kid that's not paying attention. A kid that's lazy or a kid that's bored. Yeah.
Ain't no discipline at home. And I'll tell them that. It ain't no discipline at home disorder. I had a little girl tell me that. She was like, Miss Williams, you don't believe in ADHD? And I said, no. She said, why? And I said, because it means it ain't no discipline at home disorder. She said, well, it ain't no discipline at home. And I told her, because she was rocking in a chair. And I told her, I said, now go sit, now go stand up and give me your chair. 20 minutes later, I gave it back to her. She came up to me at the end of class and she's like, you don't believe in ADHD? And I said, no. And she's like, what? And I said, because it ain't no discipline at home disorder. I said, when I told you not to rock, you did it anyways. When I took your chair, that's discipline. I said, did you rock the rest of the time? And she said, no. Nope. And I said, you're not ADHD, baby. You're making an excuse for your bad behavior.
Yeah, it's an excuse for bad behavior, and it's an excuse to medicate our kids.
Make an excuse for bad behavior. That's what that is.
Yeah, and to give them Medicaid. They want to give a 5-year-old Adderall because he's hyper. Huh? All kids are hyper. It's all follow the money.
The child tell me, now take it. And they're sitting there and they're like this. Okay. And there was this kid there and we're talking about how I don't believe in ADHD. We're talking about behaviors. We're talking about all this kind of stuff. And so, you know, at the end of the class, he told me, he was like, so Miss Williams, you don't believe in ADHD? And I was like, no, I don't believe in it because I believe that there's no discipline at home. And that's why you're not being able to sit still. And so he says, well, I've been on medication since I was 3 and he's 13. I said, so what'd you do? He was like, I bit somebody. I was like, you bit somebody? He was like, yeah. So they put him on medication for that. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not ADHD. And he said, well, why would you say that? I said, because this is a 48-minute class and every single one of you in this class hasn't moved since I started talking. You're not ADHD. Yes. You're making excuses for bad. That's what that is. So it starts at home. Kids, discipline starts at home. Yeah. Everything starts at home.
Yeah, it's lack of accountability. That's all it is. And with each generation, the accountability meter gets lower. Like in the 70s and 80s, if you did something wrong, you were a badass kid. Then in the 90s, it was like, well, maybe he's hyper, maybe, and now it's ADHD, and next it's going to be something else. When all it is like you said, lack of discipline, lack of morals, and a lot of times it's not a 2-parent home, which is tragic. 2-parent homes are probably the best deciding factor of what your child is going to be. Kids are more likely to be in jail, to be undereducated, and to be poor with only one parent. And that's just the facts.
No, you're right. It is definitely a fact. And I'm 100% believe that, you know, 2-parent household, I can always tell you if a child does not have a 2-parent household. We can always say, you know, if this is a girl, I can tell she don't have a daddy at home. And if it's a boy, I can always tell if he has a mommy, if he doesn't have a mommy at home. And I can also tell if a boy's been raised by his mom. You know, it's very obvious. But people don't understand that all human beings have estrogen and testosterone. You can't just limit that, you know, because you can't get along with somebody. Don't be sitting up in here laying up and having babies with a man or a woman that you don't plan on being with, because you're just gonna make them suffer anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, and the 2-parent homes, see, the dynamic is that the man, he gives you your masculine side, and for the little girls, you know, it's having a strong man around the house for a little girl. That's everything, because what happens when you're a strong man around your daughter, when she gets older, she's going to compare every boy she comes in contact with her father. So if that boy doesn't measure up to her dad, she's a lot less attracted. She's a lot less prone to be out there being a thought when she has a strong man at the house. But if you're not around, or if you're abusive, or if you neglect her, then any man on the street will do when she gets older. So when you talk about 2 parents, it is imperative. Ladies, if you can help it, it is imperative you have a man around.
Yeah.
If it's not your baby daddy, if he was abusive, some man. Because when women say, I'm a single mother, I raised my son, now he's a strong man. No, you didn't. About time he was 10, he tuned you out. Another man raised him. A coach, a boyfriend, a guidance counselor, another man raised that boy. And you were lucky a strong man raised him. A lot of times, an OG from the hood, or some rappers on TV, or a movie star, or a porn star raises your child.
That's true. I want to shout out Jenny for the donation. We appreciate that. Y'all don't forget to donate to the Cash App at it's $ENC question reflection. Don't forget to like this video right under the video like button. Just click it. Also, if you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit that notification bell. You are so right, Dorian. And it's pertinent that we do that. It's pertinent as parents that we understand that we have to give our children what they need in order to be decent kids. Now, I did a video on marriage because there's a lot of women that will get with men and they're not ready. And if a man lets a woman treat him like that, where she's usurping his headship because she can't even be a good wife or be a good husband because she's over here causing problems, it's going to cause a dysfunction. And whether you have a 2-parent household or not, it does affect it a little bit better, but it also doesn't make it good now, because now you have a woman who thinks she's independent to a man and doesn't need a man in her life. And so now she's going to give him the hard problems, or she's going to expect to be able to run that household, and he better sit down and be quiet. And if he don't, he can go.
Yeah, that is a sad dynamic when you have the emasculation of your own father. When you see your own father being emasculated by the mom, that is a bad precedent for a kid. They're going to watch that for years. And when they grow up, they're going to expect to be treated like that as a son and as a daughter. They're going to say, okay, I can talk to men as bad as I want to. My dad was getting talked down by my mom. I can do the same thing to men. And that is a wrong message to send to your kids.
And the boys tolerate it.
Yeah.
Well, my dad tolerated it. So they don't even know how to be men anymore, because they're raising them to tolerate women talking to them like that. And so when they get to that age where it's time to have a woman in their life, they don't know how to have a woman that is going to not usurp their headship. They know they're supposed to be leaders because they're men. They just know that. Naturally, a man is the head of the household, but they don't know how to do it because they was raised by single moms. They don't know what it means to be a man because there's no model around for them to know what to do. And so the next thing they're going to do is they're going to tolerate women disrespecting them. They're going to tolerate what women are doing to them. I just did a video about domestic violence on men. You know, that
was a good show too. The domestic violence show. That was a great show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's crazy, but it's the truth behind it. You know, we have to have a functional family for our boys to have good women. And you can't sit back and you haven't raised your boys right and sit back and say, well, you got to get a girl that's quiet, who doesn't argue and doesn't do this. And then they get those girls, but you don't know how to be a leader. So therefore they don't want to be with you anyways, because they have a daddy at home and they know that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
You know?
And look, the quiet women will start talking back to him. Oh, this ain't a real man. And then they turn into the chicks that you was trying to avoid. That happens a lot. Right. You meet a nice girl. You meet your girl who's about family, who's about kids and all that, but you're not man enough to step up and, kind of mirror what her father was, then it's going to be the same thing. It's a bad cycle. We haven't taught these kids to be men and women. You know, we taught them to be whiny, to have excuses about everything. Yeah.
That's our job.
Yeah, it's tragic.
And I mean, even a parent, male parents and you have female parents. It's our job to teach them our side of things. Like me as a mom, I have to cater to my children's emotional needs or their mental states or their nurturing state. That's what I have to deal with. I leave that stuff up to my husband for all that masculine, boyish testosterone. Yeah. I don't know nothing about sports. I couldn't tell you. I might know what their names are, but I don't know them like that. I don't want to know them like that. You know, I don't want to teach them that kind of stuff. And sometimes it takes two parents. You have to have you really have to, but you have to have two functional parents.
Yeah, I was gonna say two functional.
You can't have them just doing whatever and what, but that goes back to the topic. Parents are forgetting that they.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there a lot of PDA in your house between you and your husband in front of the kids?
What's PDA?
Oh, public displays of affection.
Oh. No, not all that French kissing and all over. And,
oh, not that. But I'm just saying, just basic. Hey, honey, give me a kiss. Oh, come here, girl. Give me, yeah.
Yeah,
that's important.
Before he leaves to go to work, I kiss him. I hug him a lot because I like to be hugged. I like my husband to give me hugs all the time. So he'll give me a hug, and my kids will just be like, "Ew, gross." But it shows them a level of love and affection. But there's not a lot of that really gross, vulgar, sexualizing. Like my kids, I don't allow them to tag and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's a way to do it
so
artfully.
PDA back when I was a kid.
Well, PDA can be holding hands too. It depends on how deep your mind goes to the gutter on PDA. But it's basically like holding hands, kissing, like light PDA. Yeah, not the full on groping. That's a different level. But I say that I asked you that because when I was a kid, let me give you my background. My dad, he had a whole lot of kids, and my mom had 2 kids before me. And my mom and dad, they met, they had me, and they hated each other after that. I never once seen my mom and dad hug or kiss each other because they were already broken up. I have a brother who's a year younger from another man. So my parents were together maybe 2 years, had me, and were done. I never see them once embrace. I never see them once hug. So I make it my mission for my kids every day for me to hug and kiss their mom. I grab her from behind, I give her a kiss. Sometimes I look at my son like, hey, boy, when you get you a girlfriend, you do this. You give her hugs and kisses. That's what you do. And my daughter, like, I show them every day that mom and dad love each other explicitly. Hugging, kissing, holding hands, talking nice to one another. They've never seen us argue. They've never seen us raise our voices to each other and throw stuff. And, I get slapped. They've never seen that. I ain't slapping nobody, but they never see me get slapped, And I think that's important. It sets a tone for the rest of their lives.
It really does. And one of my first, and just to say, I think that we have about a 10 to 15 second latency, which is why we're overlapping, just like on the news stations. Like on the news stations.
Yeah, hello, Bob. Bob, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear. No.
But exactly. So one of my very first videos that I did was about discipline, and it went to show that violent activity, and it more or less was about violent discipline. It does affect a child in the long run if you don't, because when you're using physical discipline, you have to discipline twice. You have to discipline the physical discipline, and then you have to go in this far. This is why I had to go this far. And it really, when they see stuff like that, they see, okay, well, this is how I solve problems. This is how I'm supposed to solve this problem here. This is how I'm supposed to solve this problem there. And they do it if it works, just like when I was talking about on the domestic violence. If a woman thinks that hitting a man or psychologically abusing him is going to get her way, she's going to keep doing it. And it's the same way with kids. If a kid sees it and it works, they're going to imprint that into their blueprint. And when they get married, that's the form they're going to use with their wives. Yeah.
And that's sad too, because there's a lot of domestic abuse, and it's a cycle. Your dad abused, so you abuse, and then it just keeps going. And the thing about domestic violence, it always escalates. So if a man, ladies, if a man is hitting you, even if he slaps you, you may want to leave that situation because it's not going to get better. It's going to continue to escalate because, you know, I'm just using examples. You know, if you slap a woman and then she's completely docile after that, or at least for that moment, okay, fine. But then later on, okay, now a punch has to do it. And it just keeps going until either one of you guys are dead or in jail, or the woman has enough courage, enough support to leave. But there's never a good ending to a woman who gets beat down and all of a sudden you have a happy relationship. You saw how, you know, What's Love Got to Do with it ended with Tina Turner and Ike Turner. You know, he started off slapping her, then he started off punching her, then kicking her, and then at the end of the movie, pulled a gun out on her, about to kill her. So if you're in a domestic situation, you may want to get out of that.
Of Umar Johnson.
Yeah,
Umar Johnson is
like
somebody
him.
I used to watch, and he I do too. And he said a person is only going to do to you what you allow them to do. And when you're allowing someone to do things to you and it works or they get away with it, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to continue to do it. And if slapping you doesn't work anymore, they're going to resort to something that hurts worse, punching. They're going to resort to something worse than that, picking up stuff and hitting you with it instead of using that. So it's going to continue to escalate. And the only way to do that is to leave or man up and put a stop to it. And I hate to say it like that with the man up thing, but the thing is, a man has a way to control a woman that is doing things like that. It's a long process. It's how much you're willing to tolerate and how much you're going to leniency, how much you're going to put up with it. But the thing about it is, if you're not, then it's just not for you, because a lot of women mentally have been taught that this is how you handle a man, because single women are teaching their daughters, you don't need a man. When they get a man,
that is sad.
They always get a man and man moves in with them, or they all.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's a very sad. It's very sad, and there's not a lot you can really do about it. So, do you think that it's a teacher's responsibility to an academic teacher's responsibility to train a child?
It depends. I mean, if you live in the inner city, then yes. Sometimes it's imperative that the teachers teach your kids, because they're not doing it at home. The dad is gone. The mom is strung out a lot of times. Or, you know, you have kids who are neglected. Yes, they have two parents in the home, but the parents can't stand each other. They can't stand the fact that they have kids with each other because they want to leave. And so a lot of times kids are not getting the attention they need. So a lot of times teachers, sadly, have to become parents. And if that's the situation, then yeah, they should, but tread kind of lightly. You know, find out what's going in the home. And if a teacher really is going to try to be a pseudo parent, I think it should be done on a one-on-one basis. You have to get to know the kid first. You know, stick to the lesson plan in a group, but individually find out what's going on at home. If they have two functional parents, just teach arithmetic. But if they don't have two functional parents, then you can give some words of wisdom. If there's no dad there, teach some stuff that dad will teach. If there's no mom, which is rare that it's a single dad. Single dads are rare, but if it is, then try to fill in that void of what the kid has.
Yeah, they are. They're very. It's rare to see a man be single. Most of the time, a man is going to be able to find a woman to help, because women are helpers. They're going to be able to find a woman that can help take care of the kids. So it is rather rare, but women in this generation have been raised, especially since the 60s, when the fathers really started to come out of the families, and it became normal to not have a father in the house. Even in white families, I mean, not even in melanated families, but in white families, they they tripled. Their numbers for single families tripled from the 70s, from 7% to 22%.
That's
so
crazy.
It became normal for a father not to be in the house. It is. It's very crazy. And a lot of people think that that's a common problem in melanated families, but it's a really big problem across the board to any family, not having a father. And with this generation is that these women, they're teaching these kids to, especially the girls, to be independent or self-sufficient away from a man. You don't need a man telling you what to do. I did a video about Cardi B because I think that that's the reason why Cardi B actually wanted a divorce, is because Offset was trying to control her, as a man should when it comes to what she's doing. Yeah. But her reasoning is all because women don't want to depend on a man, and it's causing a problem, and it's causing a fatherless environment.
Yeah, what's sad is, I mean, men are becoming less and less dependable, and I admit it. Men are becoming less and less men. There are very few real men out there, and because of that, there's a lot of distrust. Women don't trust men enough to want to submit and want to be the woman they're supposed to be. And you mentioned the family dynamic. I did not know that stat about how it's 21%. Single parenthood in the white community. I know the black statistics, it was at 29% in the 60s. And there was a big news article about that. They were like, oh my God, it's 29%, single motherhood. Now it's over 70%. That is tragic. So if you want to start with problems in the black community, that's where you start. The lack of family, the lack of men being in home. Start there, and then you can go to education and to poverty. But start at the family dynamic. 70% single motherhood. That's where you start. So you got to keep the men in the home.
And it has been progressing. You have to. The man provides structure and security. You take a man out of a home, and that's what you leave your family with, is a lack of structure, a lack of stability, and a lack of security. And women don't understand that, and they don't see it like that, because they go in there like, I don't care, I can secure myself. Okay. I can stabilize myself. Okay. 25% of our single families, and 80% of them are women. 7% are unmarried, which is considered single families. If they're unmarried, they're not considered, which is odd, but they are. But in the 60s, it was 22% that the melanated families were single families, and it moved up to in 2013 to 55%, which almost doubled. Well, no, it doubled, and then in 2015 it was 66% in single families. So, and now you say it's up to 70, and I believe it because people are not seeing the value in having a two-parent household.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, even worse, society is teaching women like, hey, be proud of your single motherhood. And the messed up thing, I almost cursed, but the messed up thing about that is that they're teaching that to black women, and black women exclusively. They're teaching black women that single motherhood is the thing to do. They'll use examples like LeBron James. They'll say, hey, LeBron James' mom was a single mom, and look how he turned out. LeBron James is 1 in a billion. The other single moms with little kids, their lives are going to be a lot worse. Than they're going to be behind on education. They're going to be behind on earning potential. They're going to be behind, hell, on freedom. They're more likely to go to jail, 5 times more likely. And so when they're trying to sell this to black women, it's done systematically. When they talk about systematic racism, that's one of the things you can point to, because they're teaching black women to abort their kids. They're teaching black women to kick men out the home, girl, be strong, be independent. They don't teach that to Asian women or to Middle Eastern or even to African women. Same skin, but different culture. Family family is taught in other cultures. That's why the family structure is so strong everywhere else. We're the richest country, but have the poorest morals, but have the most broken homes. You have countries that people are dirt poor, but the family's there. So guess what? They'll take their 2 nickels, they'll come to America and build a business and become millionaires because the family structure's in place. The dad owns a Quickie Mart. When he turns 56 years old and the son is 19, guess who's taking over that Quickie Mart? The son is. Mm-hmm. So that son doesn't have to go to college. That son doesn't have to go and, commit crimes and sell drugs. He owns his own business. Not because they were super talented. Not because they were super rich. No, they had a family structure. They said, we're going to own this 99-cent store, and boom. Now they have a real future. But these kids in America, especially Black Americans, the game is taught wrong. Michelle Obama called herself a single mother. Trying to promote single motherhood. Yeah, she said, I'm a single mother. Michelle Obama. Your Michelle Obama called herself a single mother. Oh. Now, she did correct herself, but she said, well, sometimes I feel like a single mother because I'm like, bruh. But you have to look at the messages that are being taught to you.
Actually, I'm a whole other conversation about that one.
Yeah. Everything we're talking about is an hour show about how to teach the kids, about fatherhood,
And I could literally sit there and have a whole conversation about it because it's so broad. It's things that everybody needs to talk about. And I hate that YouTube, doesn't really respect the truth. They kind of want systematically to do what they want to do with what they want to do.
Community guidelines.
And it's kind of
nobody knows what they are.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and conclude our video. I think that we have really touched a lot of good information on parents forgetting that they're the primary teacher. I hope that a lot of people got a lot of our information and took it and was able to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and remind y'all, we got Doran Williams, we got Brian Sports System, we got Jenny Raw, Real and Unfiltered. Make sure that y'all go and subscribe to these channels and check out their material, like their videos and comment if you need to. But also while you're doing that, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, ENC Question Reflection. Like this video, comment it, and share it with your family and friends. And also if you want to donate or support our channel, you can always go to Cash App at $ENC Question Reflection. You can also use PayPal at paypal.me/ENC Question Reflection if you would like to donate, support our channel. So with that being said, we all going to catch y'all on the flip side.
All right. Peace out, y'all.